Furious Driving, presented by Diamond Bright, keeping the Furious fleet shining, and you can protect, clean and care for your car with 10% off site-wide using code FD10. Bidding Classics, the online marketplace for appreciating classic cars, with more cars added every week. And like Diamond Bright, Lancaster Insurance Services is a company I've been a happy customer of for quite some time. Lancaster are one of the biggest specialist insurers in the UK, covering all areas of vintage to modern classic car and motorbike. So give them a call and see if you can save on your cover. Follow the links in the description below. Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and guess what, it's actually sunny, so we're going to quickly crack on with the paintwork on the Beetle before it rains in the next 2 hours, which you never know, it could be sunnier, it might rain, it might snow, who knows. But anyway, we are going to crack on with finishing the blue paint on this car because we want to get this car sold and moved on to a new happy home as soon as possible. However, there is one thing I did slightly wrong on the previous episode, because I assumed that this little insert bit here was like a welded part of the roof. It turns out it is very much not a welded part of the roof. It's a plastic insert which I need to pry out, so I need to start prying very carefully without breaking to remove it from in there. Then there's probably going to be more rust underneath it. Okay, so I've got a screwdriver wrapped in masking tape to kind of soften the blow. They can pry underneath here. Then as that lifts up, there we go. Gonna need a second hand for this and try and get a pry tool underneath that. It comes, there we go. Be careful not to bend it, because I do bend really easily. Whoop. Not too badly bent, hopefully. I'm going to have to repaint it, but it will go back in. Actually, it looks like there's a bit of side rust, but the bottom is okay. I'll get my whizzy wheel, as I now know it's called, onto that. I'm going to put a bit of rust proofer on. Actually, there's a bit of bubble down there. Well, that's good we've done this then. So let's get in here and whizzy off these bits in here. Oh, it's a bit tight actually. So also thank you to the various people who did mention that this was actually a thing that needed to be done, because I was under the impression that this was going to be, as I say, a metal panel that was welded in. I didn't realise it was a plastic strip that was pried in there, because I couldn't see any like mounting points for roof racks and things. And I would like to take issue with the various people who saw me paint this red stuff on without doing rust killing first and kept on commenting, it's a bodge, it's a bodge. It's not a bodge. This is industrial grade stuff that's used on like the Outer Hebrides and in sea spray on oil rigs and stuff. And the idea is you can bare the metal off, paint it immediately, kill any rust, and be done instantly. It's an industrial application for really heavy duty stuff. This is a day in the park for this particular product. If you're after some, because there's no direct links to it, it's MDS Europe or Google Bulldog BDX, you'll find it. You know that thing when you're halfway through a job and you realise you haven't got all the bits you need? Well, guess what? I've got 40, I've got 80, I've got 120 grit sandpaper, I've got 2,500 grit sandpaper. Have I got anything in between? No, I haven't. So nipping down to Halfords to go and get some more while the paint dries. Actually, in the first time in a few weeks I've taken the 200 VI out, because the weather's been so grotty and salty. It's been sat on the drive, but nice to be out there again. I might actually take this car up to the Cars and Coffee on Thursday up at Lancaster in St Ives, because it's a nice car for a bit of a drive out. It's so comfortable. Right, stuff successfully got. Big pack of sandpaper, some knifing putty for doing the finer bits. Unfortunately, the U-Pol stuff I was actually looking for, they didn't have any over there, so I mentioned some U-Pol gold, I think I said, for real fine repairs, but didn't have any. Anyway, I've not parked in the car park for Halfords because there's roadworks on the big crossroads thing, and yeah, it's taking ages to get through, so I parked in the housing estate across the road, ran across, which is much quicker. And this car is making a tiny whistling noise, which changes with the engine speed. So I think it might be an alternator bearing or a pulley bearing or something. I don't know exactly what. It's more of an irritation than a concern. But it's definitely engine speed related, because you don't even hear it idle. And I will just say, Whoever owns the fantastic lowered Honda Aero deck that was outside Halford, your car is fantastic. It's also got the same kind of wheels on it that I want to stick onto my Rover 400 estate. And that did actually confirm how good the car looks on those wheels. But I want to go bronze because with the red that looked really cool. Right, let's get back home and keep on painting the Beetle. Okay, well, it was a certain inevitability we were going to end up over here in the barn eventually because it's winter and trying to paint outside when it's raining, gusting wind, freezing cold, all of the above at the same time, potential snow, is kind of awkward. I was trying to keep the job at home because this is the kind of thing where you keep on coming and going, doing a little bit very briefly for a few seconds almost, and leave it for a few hours and then come back again and do a few seconds of work and then come back in a few hours. So having it at home is really quite convenient. But over here in the barn, at least it's warm and dry. And it means that the newspaper isn't going to go and evaporate every time I leave it for a while. Okay, GoPros are rubbish. The battery's gone dead on that, even though I had 50% in it. By the time I finished the sentence, the battery was dead. What I was saying was that inevitably, because of the weather, I've had to bring this over here. It means I've got to come and go between coats of paint. So I've put on a couple of coats of paint of the top blue coat, having primed this, rust-proof primed, high build primed, and now wet sanded. I think it was 800 or 1200, I forget which wet sanded anyway, so a nice smooth finish on all the panels. The only one I haven't done is the one over on the far side on the passenger door because it's tight up against the Mini. So I'll give this a couple of coats, letting it flash off between coats and very, very light coverings. Because it's a metallic, only moving it in one direction and hoping that's the same direction that the car factory painted it in. I'm assuming front to back. So this will get a build up of a nice metallic blue. It's a really beautiful shade of colour actually. It's called Royal Navy, interestingly. So now I've done 2 coats. I'll have to leave it a bit and then come back tomorrow, I guess, and put a couple more coats on then, which is a very slow way of working when you've got half an hour of driving in between coats. Not the most efficient, but at least it's dry and relatively warm compared with outside. Right, going home now. Right, so I was up here last night putting the final coats of blue paint on here. The driver's door, the roof areas, looking pretty good. Just needed to give a final sand back of like really fine 2000 grit paper and then lacquer and we're done. And then also need to do the passenger door because that one's harder to get to, so I've been having to push the car forwards to do it. So that's not had quite so many coats of paint and needs a little bit more attention. However, I was more or less ready to finish up on that one when what should happen, but I can't get through. Somehow, and I've literally no idea how I managed this, the cat bit kind of pinged off and went, I don't know where, vanished, just vanished into the ether of nowhere. The place that 10mm sockets and, I don't know, odd socks goes to. So this side and the roof, I'm now going to lightly sand back with mega fine abrasive paper, not sandpaper, I don't have to comment that. Lacquer it, and then I'm going to push it outside into the hallway of the barn and try and work out where on earth that paint cap's gone so I can finish the passenger door. Because I am confused. Okie dokie, I've been here quite a while now and I've been sanding and flatting with 1200, 2000 grit, and it looks really odd on the camera, but it looks a lot better in person, I can assure you. We've got actually pretty good colour match just there, but I'm rather hoping quite a lot, once the lacquer goes on, that will actually look quite good. You couldn't see, I've done anything at all, but the smoothing effect is really very good indeed. It feels lovely. Looks like I've been assaulting a Smurf, but I've got some tack rags somewhere, got some FFP3 face masks so I can crack in with the lacquer at this point. Then this side of the car is done. I forgot to bring a tripod and a GoPro or anything apart from the phone. Foolish lack of preparation considering this is entirely for YouTube. But yeah, painting isn't particularly exciting. Not a lot to see, and even the follow-up is pretty dull as well. Literally watching paint dry. Okay, we are now in the position where we've got lacquer on the door. Looks good and shiny. We've got lacquer on the side rail, we've got on the roof. Probably got dust in there, I'm sure, in this environment. It's not the best for paint, but you know, fingers crossed it's going to look alright. Now it's going off, I'm going to start scrimmaging around on the floor, trying to find what happened to that paint cap. It's around somewhere, I'm sure. The problem I'm now having with the Beetle is the more I'm doing to it, the nicer it's getting, as with all of my cars, even though I have agreed a sale on this car already. It's got a new home to go to, it's waiting for it, anxiously it seems. I'm very happy for it to go there because I know it's a great home and I'm going to get something interesting back in return. I really like this. Whenever I open up, let me just give you the view of what I see when I walk in here. I open this door and this greets me. This is such a cool looking thing, a smiley happy face with round curvy metallic curves, a little bubbly number plate, the fantastic shade of blue. Royal blue is my favourite Beetle colour, I've decided. I'm actually thinking I wish I'd gone and put some 18-inch really cool hot alloys on it that would have made this thing look incredible. Yeah. This is very much my problem. I always get attached to cars that I really shouldn't do. This car was brought in for the purposes entirely of trading on. But the more I look at it, the more I think, oh, I really quite like that. Well, good morning, and we're back in the barn again a couple of days later, having given the paint time, or the lacquer I should say, time to cure in the dark. Well, I don't know how well this is coming up on camera, but it actually looks quite presentable in real life. And then the thing about cameras is they do show light and reflected light differently to how the human eye perceives it. So it might look absolutely awful on camera, but in reality, it does look quite tidy. So this car now needs to go home, have a mega wash and a mega polish, as in dual action polisher machine with the one cut, one finish. Then give it the ceramic glaze, which is a quick spray that Diamond Bright do, which means it'll be repelling the dirt. The only thing I haven't done though is the passenger door top coat of blue, because I still haven't found the cap from that paint can, which is a tad awkward, I have to say. But it has been an absolute godsend having the barn over here to work in the last couple of days, because the weather has been icy cold and horrible, and being over here in the warm and dry has been quite nice. Unfortunately, washing it does mean taking it back outside. Right, now the next thing I'm going to do today is not paint work, but I have been ordering bits and pieces for this car, spending yet more money on this thing, which is just leaving my life in a few days. This is just insane, the amount of money I've spent on the thing. But these mix match tyres, 2 good quality brown ones, 2 Chinesiums, 1 quite cracked and knackered, have all got to go. We want a nice matching set, so we've got a lovely set of Falcons, which are basically the same thing I put on Quentin the convertible, on the 200 VI. I think I'm probably going to put a set of them on the Tourer as well, because that needs tyres at the moment. But yeah, this is going to go and get a new set of tyres in a minute. So I have a little tidy up in here and then whiz it over to the tyre place. Yes, I realise that newspaper is not the official correct nice way of doing this, but A, on a budget, B, haven't got any of the brown paper stuff you're meant to use, and C, if it works, it works. Oh yeah, I need to put this channel back in. It needs to be cleaned up first because I did put some undercoat on top of it. Yeah, it looks alright actually. I think once that's had a cut, that will look really quite nice. Okay, because I'm fed up of lying underneath cars in the cold weather, and it's probably going to snow this week, so it's quite nice to sit back and relax while someone else does some work on the car for a little while. A new set of 16-inch Falcon Xeons are going on the alloys they picked up in Coventry a couple of weeks ago. And while the car's up in the air, I can take a quick nose round under the floor to make sure the chassis is as rust-free as I think it is, and it does look like it's pretty good. So we're back off the ramp, having been to Commercial Tyres and had our Falcon tyres fitted on it, which look lovely, much fresher, much more supple. I do love a lovely new set of tyres, they absolutely transform a car. These are a really good price point for a set of tyres that give you really good road holding, good braking, good stability, but don't cost the earth either. So obviously it depends what size you're going for as to what they actually cost. But this is well above budget, but not as expensive as the premiums like the Continentals that I've put on the Mercedes, because well, it's like a fairly high performance car that kind of feel like wants to be a bit more high performancey. These though are very good, and on the 200 VI the thing really handles nicely. Now I just need to go and get a paint cap so I can finish painting that door, take the car back, give it a good wash and work on the interior, and we're good to go. We need an MOT still. This car is very nearly done. Let's take it down the road though and see what it's like when it's fresh new tyres, how lovely and smooth it runs compared to before. Because let's not forget, we had Chinesium, Bridgestone Continental. That's not a good look. Now we've got matching tyres all the way around, brand new tyres. This car is going to be fantastic for the new owner. Right, so we're out on the road now, riding on new tyres, which absolutely does transform a car. And some people are doubtful of this, but trust me, it is the best thing you can do to make a car feel newer and fresher instantly. Change the rotten old tyres for a new set and suddenly the car will feel supple and have better road holding, better grip, better braking. Everything is significantly better. I know when I fitted the mixed and match set of 4 different tyres on in the last video about this car, a lot of people in other countries were amazed I was even allowed to do such a thing, but in fact in this country there are no regulations that say you can't mix and match tyres. It's advised not to mix and match tyres, and I completely agree, because you get potentially quite dangerous situations with better braking on one corner or the other side of the car. So if you brake hard, hit standing water, whatever, the car can just pirouette into the undergrowth and be smashed into smithereens along with you. So yeah, I do completely agree with not fitting mismatched tyres. However, the rules in this country are merely that you only have to have a minimum of 1.6 millimetres of tread across 75% of the tyre. Well, it's not as bad as some American states where you can just drive with the cords showing and nothing they can do about it. But at least we got something. But my own personal preference, as you've seen in my previous videos, is for doing at the bare minimum an axle together, as a preference all 4 tyres together. And generally I will keep all 4 corners exactly the same brand, if not the same model of tyre as well, which is what we've done on this car. We've now got 4 matching Falcons, and in fact since changing onto the previous mixed match on the alloys, we only drove the car I think once, maybe twice, and that was basically to take it over to the barn and to get diesel. So I've just been letting it sit until the new tyres arrived, and I have to say I'm now doing the national speed limit. Look at me, hesitant to say what the speed limit is, because who knows what the national speed limit ever is. The national speed limit, I believe it's 70, up this dual carriageway, and the car just feels so nice. It's just a bit of a pain that it started raining now, so I was going to get out and give it a good wash. I still can wash it in the rain, but I can't polish it, I can't finish doing the paintwork. Well, the Beetle is now virtually finished on the exterior. It's just a final coat of lacquer on the passenger door and an all-over machine polish everywhere else, and it is basically done on the outside. I've just given it a quick wash with some ceramic shampoo, which has made it sparkle, and the thing just looks so very, very good. And it's only going to be a work of a few minutes to machine polish the entire car, and it's going to look absolutely beautiful. Now I can move on to the interior tomorrow. It needs a good old clean up. I've got a couple of little surprises to really, really spruce it up nicely, so tune in next time for that. As far as the Beetle goes, it's very nearly done, and I'll be honest, I'll be quite sorry to see it go. It's really quite grown on me. Little Beryl is quite a nice car to drive. I'm kind of wishing I hadn't agreed to sell it so quickly. I don't know what to sell instead, because, I don't know, everything else has got a place in the barn. Anyway, that's always the problem with too many cars, there's never enough space. If I had more space, I would just keep it, and more money of course as well. Anyway, the rain is not helping with my intended cleaning the outside of the car, so I'm going to go indoors, drink tea and eat biscuits. So thank you for watching, I hope you've enjoyed. As always, please hit like and subscribe, and join us again next time doing something completely different. Well, probably this car, to be honest. I could be doing with more of the Crown Vic, but I don't like lying under a car in the rain if I don't have to. But I do have to really though. Oh well, anyway, next time, later, bye bye.